What's up, you guys? Steven with Magic Metal Money. Innistrad Midnight Hunt is upon us. We have previews already, a little sneak peek before the official preview season, and I am so excited. First of all, just seeing the art and the landscape of Halloween made me so excited for the fall. You know, the heat of the summer is over. It's getting chilly and brisk. The holidays are coming. We got football back. I love the fall, and this made me so excited for it. But man, is this set going to be sweet. Now, first things first, you got to know, we did not get any werewolves, but we did get information knowing that the werewolf mechanic, the transform mechanic, is going to be different. So in the past, it worked on your upkeep as a triggered ability depending on how many spells have been cast the previous turn. I'm guessing they're going to change that to make it an activated ability that you have more control over. Just a guess, we'll see, but we'll find out for sure, and we'll talk about it in an upcoming video, and you can find out by subscribing and joining the Werewolf Pack. It's where you belong. First thing we want to talk about is that Flashback is here. It is back. And we didn't get this last time we visited Innistrad during Eldritch Moon and Shadows over Innistrad, but now we do get it back, and noticeably the first one we got was a gold card, which is the first ever Flashback gold card. Now, we've had cards in the past that cost one color on the front half and another color on the back half from the graveyard, but we haven't had them where they cost two different color types on one half, right, on the front half or on the graveyard half. Here we can see with Join the Dance, you're getting that white-green casting cast, which allows more power and flexibility, right? When you have things that are more difficult to cast by going into different colors, you now get more power for the converted mana cost. So for 2 mana, you're going to get more power on average when it's gold versus when it's just white and generic. I'm really excited to see what other cards that brings to the table. Now, will we get reprints of like Lingering Souls or Snapcaster Mage? Who knows? We'll see. I mean, Snapcaster's like $60 now, all the way climbed up back up to $60. So a reprint in a standard set would be really welcome for Snapcaster Mage, and all you blue mages out there. I mean, if it came out in a standard set, it would plummet probably down to like $30, you know, cut in half, which would be really sweet. So that would be awesome. Another preview we got was Champion of the Perished, right? After Champion of the Parish for humans, now we get a zombie side of it. It's equivalent. I really like this. It's fun. It's flavorful. It's going to be a really powerful card, right? In a zombie deck, obviously, you have a 1-drop that just grows, gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's really, really powerful. And, you know, fun flavor they did this. The flavor text is like mirrored for the 2 cards. Then obviously Champion of the Parish, right, with an A, the church, Perished with an E, the dead. Really cool, fun card, and it's going to be powerful. And this is going to be great in any zombie flavor deck. Another creature that we got spoiled was Triskaidekaphile, right? This lover of number 13. I love that the power toughness is a little 13, right? The 1 and 3, that's fun, it's flavorful. And, you know, this card doesn't look good, like, at all. I mean, it'll be good in limited. Not for your rare, not your pack one, pick one even, but, you know, it's still a good filler card in limited if you're playing the right deck. It's defensive, you know, 1/3 early 2-drop to stabilize the board, and yeah, it's a mana sink. You can draw your cards later. You know, it's state-based ability of winning the cards based on having 13 cards exactly in your hand. Let me tell you something. You don't need a little 1/3 on the board to win the game if you have 13 cards in your hand, all right? You don't need this in order to do that. Just draw all your cards and then win the game in any of the way with the 13 cards that you have in your hand. So I don't see this being a constructed staple, but it is a fun, flavorful card. It's really weird. It's collecting hands. We got all these hands in jars. Notice the promo version, there are 13 hands in the art, so that's nice and fun. Really cool card, but I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Now, another card that I think is definitely going to be more of a constructed powerhouse is Wrenn and 7. Right, so we got Wrenn and 6 back in Modern Horizons 1, now we got Wrenn and 7. Notice 6 and 7 do add up to be 13, so that's kind of fun. I don't think that was an accident. When I first saw this card, immediately what stood out to me before even reading the card was that it had 5 loyalty and 4 different abilities. That immediately was like, whoa, this is powerful. It's got really high loyalty and you know, 4 different abilities for only 5 mana, and it looks like a great card. You know, the +1 of a mulch, fine. It's nothing too crazy, but unless you have graveyard synergy, then that starts to be really powerful, right? Because in the late game, once you have 5 lands, you don't really need to be digging for more lands. You're not mana screwed at that point, right? So it's not the most powerful effect at 5 mana, but and then the 0 ability of putting lands into your, you know, onto the battlefield, that's fine. It's nothing too crazy. It's very synergistic with itself, but obviously that -3 ability is really where this card stands out, right? Just immediately just making a 5/5 that has a Planeswalker still on the battlefield, that is really strong, and that 5/5 presumably grows each and every turn, right? So this is something really strong, and then being able to throw stuff in your graveyard is definitely not insignificant. I don't want to downplay the +1 ability, like that is sweet. It's just like for 5 mana, that's typically not what you're going to be doing the turn you play it. Typically what you're going to be doing is just boom, make a 5/5. Or, you draw this a little bit later, turn 6, 7, 8, you're making an even bigger creature right off the bat, and then they have to deal with that in order to deal with the Planeswalker. And then you can start, doing the mulch ability, +1, getting those lands in your hand and feeding other stuff into your graveyard, putting those flashback spells into your graveyard. I do think this is going to be very powerful. It's definitely going to depend on the context, right? You can never know if this is going to be like a powerhouse in Standard and will actually be something that Standard is, shaped around. I don't know about that. There's no way to know that ahead of time without seeing the entire set and everything. But this card's power level and cost rate and everything for 5 mana, you're definitely getting your value's worth for your investment of 5 mana, I think. And this is going to be just an absolute great card. Hopefully there's a Standard environment where this can see a lot of play. Speaking of graveyard synergies, check out Consider. This little 1-drop cantrip is just nuts, right? Opt is good. We already know that. Like, Opt is really good. The flexibility to do that in instant speed, to scry 1, draw card is great. Surveilling 1 and drawing a card is way better, especially in a set with Flashback. Like, imagine just 1 mana, instant speed, draw 2. That's nuts. And one of those cards is a spell, right? You just take a look, throw your Flashback spell into your graveyard, right? Your Lingering Souls or whatever the equivalent is in this set, throw it into your graveyard and then draw the next card deep. For 1 mana, that's really, really, really powerful, and I absolutely see this being a constructed staple, and I even see this definitely being significant in Limited. Like, typically in Limited, you don't really want to spend your time and your mana on cantrips. Sometimes 1 or 2 is fine, but you're not playing this crazy combo deck or anything, and sometimes it helps you dig to your bombs, but like, overall, they're filler. They're cantrips. It's not really what you want. You could just put powerful cards in your deck instead of this. But with the graveyard synergies, I mean, if there's a lot of common and uncommon Flashback cards, yeah, like throw this in there, and then you start drawing 2 for 1 mana, and you're getting your 2-for-1s. Really strong. Now moving on to the removal spells that we got spoiled. Yeah, they're good. Infernal Grasp, really, really powerful. I mean, Doomblade and Murder combined into 1. This is super strong. It's also great because we had Anguish Unmaking and Shadows over Innistrad, right? And this is kind of like that, where you get this really powerful instant speed removal at the cost of lighting life. But you can think of this as like a Murder, but with 1 Phyrexian mana almost, right? I mean, you don't get the flexibility, like you don't have the option to paying 3 mana for this and no life. But just think about, in most situations, would you rather pay 2 mana and 2 life versus 3 mana? Yes, like all the freaking time, right? Like, if you think about it with Phyrexian mana, a very broken mechanic, a very broken cost reducer, that starts to show you how powerful this effect really is. I mean, Doomblade is really powerful, and this doesn't have any restrictions on what it can target. Just targets anything for 2 mana and destroys it at instant speed. I can't believe they printed this card almost, right? Like, sure, they said in the preview, like, oh, if you cast all 4 of these, you lose 8 life, that's going to add up. So what? You did other things with all that extra mana, because this only costs 2 mana. Like, I would love to cast all 4 of these in a game in a control deck. Are you kidding me? That's great. That means you killed 4 things that they assuredly paid 2, 3, 4, even 5, whatever. They could pay 10 mana for a creature, and you're still killing it for 2 mana. So, yeah. I think this is going to be a good card. That's a real hot take, real controversial, but I do predict this to be a very powerful card. Play with Fire is the next one, and this card is just bonkers in the right aggro deck, right? If you just got a mono-red aggro deck, it's so important to have these shock effects, and you don't always want to be throwing them at your opponent's face, right? Clearly, ideally, what you want to do is you want to clear away blockers and continue to get damage every turn with your creatures, right? You play 1 and 2 drop creatures, and then you want to continue to get those in and get repeated damage. So that way, you got, in Modern, you have the equivalent of like Lava Spike versus Goblin Guide. Which would you rather have, right? You'd rather have Goblin Guide on your turn 1, of course, right? Because I can get 4, even 6 damage in, whereas Lava Spike is always 3. That's the idea, right? That's why you want to clear away creatures. But then, if you got to throw this thing at their face, the Scry 1 is really significant, being allow you to avoid getting mana flooded and find those last few points of damage and burn to get there, especially game 1 against like a control matchup and things. I really like this card. I think this is definitely going to see play as long as there's the right shell to go around it, as long as there's a good low to the ground, low curve aggro deck. This fits right in there. Last but certainly not least are the basic lands for this set. These Eternal Night basic lands are stunningly gorgeous. I mean, these are just so sick. They remind me of just old etchings of like old spooky, like these are just so cool. I cannot believe these. There's the one mountain that has like the full moon on it, the plains that has the scarecrow. I mean, these are just oh my gosh, I need so many of these. Like, this makes me really excited to go to my LGS and to do the pre-release and to do draft, because there's going to be one of these in every single pack, right? Like, this makes me want to open packs more than like, oh, the chance to get into rare. I don't really care about that. I don't really enjoy the chase of trying to open packs and spike a mythic or spike a rare. I just buy singles typically, but like, knowing I get one of these in every single pack just makes me want to open packs. Like, this is just crazy. These lands are so beautiful. I absolutely plan to use these as my limited lands moving forward. I can't get enough of them. These are... Do you guys think these are as gorgeous as I do? These are just fantastic. Can't wait for more previews. I'm really excited for this set. This looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, judging off the hype of just these first few cards. So subscribe so you can get more videos as we talk about more of spoiler season as it comes up in a couple weeks. We'll see you next time.